All right, you know what? Let me cut straight to the chase. You need to get rich. And you need to get rich quick. And I'll be honest, with most of my YouTube videos, I have a nice little sequence and I make sure that everything flows well. Guys, I'm really just gonna do this one off the cuff because it is such an urgent message and I felt like I needed to get it to you as quickly as humanly possible. Because right now you are like a mouse in a maze and there are certain people who have been around long enough to basically be watching from a bird's eye view, although you might be living day to day and you may not be realizing what's actually going on in the world. To me, it's so scary, it's so alarming, and it's such a window of opportunity that I just felt like I needed to make this video. Ladies and gentlemen, your timeline is tightening and it's tightening really quick. Here's what's happening. You are getting squeezed from both sides. So for the normal person, right now we're facing rampant inflation. And when I say inflation, I'm talking about your cost of goods. How much it costs to fill up a tank of petrol, how much it costs to buy the item of clothing that you wanted to buy a year ago, how much it costs for your groceries, really just the cost of living. Now, I'm gonna be very honest to you. Once you get to a certain income, inflation could literally be anything and it doesn't matter. You know, for the millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires, guys, inflation doesn't matter. Inflation in asset prices matters, and that already happened 2 years ago, and now asset prices are coming down, which is the second thing that I wanted to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, the wealthy always win, and you can sit and you can complain about it, or you can do what I did at the age of 14 when I realized, you know what, this is the way that the world is always gonna work, so let me figure out how wealthy people operate.
If you're in an upward spiral, do everything in your power to make sure that it continues.
Here's what's happening. 2 years ago, wealthy people started buying up lots and lots and lots of assets. Assets like houses, stocks, cryptocurrencies, alternative assets like vintage cars, wines, watches, and then they wrote it up and they wrote it up, and then the very smart people, they sold. And the wealthy people sold at the top and asset prices are coming down. Now, for someone like me or other wealthy people who have millions and millions and millions of dollars sitting in bank accounts all across the world, ready to buy blue chip assets, I'm so excited. I thought that after I went from 1 million to 10 million after tax, that going from 10 to 100 would take me twice as long. But I realized that it might actually take me half the amount of time. Now, the reason I'm getting so worked up about this is because I know that in the next 12 to 18 months, we are gonna see buying opportunities and assets that will literally lead you to generational wealth. But here's the thing, in order to buy assets, you need cash flow. And just like Grant Cardone, love him or hate him, I mean, he's done pretty well in life.
And if it doesn't pay you, it's not a good investment.
And as I said, love him or hate him, he's right. And it may not be necessarily real estate that you invest in as an asset class, but you need money for assets. I need you to become obsessed with buying assets in the next 2 years. Do me a favor, make it your wallpaper right now. Put it on a post-it note. Post it on your bathroom mirror. I need money for assets. Because as I said, if you have free cash flow, you have an opportunity for generational wealth. There are going to be some massive, massive, massive chess moves to be made in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And now that you know, you need to be in asset buying mode. And by the way, the reason I want to get this video out right now is because this is before we go into the storm. Let me say something. Today, at the time of recording this, it's not the time to buy real estate. The real estate market usually lags 12 to 18 months after the stock market crashes. We still have some time. That's the market that I've been studying religiously day in, day out. At the time of recording this, I have strong conviction we still have some more downward price action to go. Another asset class that I love, watches. A lot of you guys know I have $3 million worth of watches. I buy all of my watches direct from the brand, so I'm safe. You know, for me, it's my gold. I'm basically dying with these things. No matter if watch prices even go down an extra 30%, I'll always be safe with the amount that I put in. But I kept telling all my friends, you know, they were buying in January, February, March. The sort of people that don't have the same sort of relationships with the brands that I do, don't buy watches. I mean, I told them, look, if this is a sentimental piece for you, then buy it. Who cares about the price? But if this is an investment for you, do not buy. And and no one listened to me. They were like, no, prices will just keep going up and up and up. And once again, even in the watch market with most in-demand pieces, even though we've come down 10, 15%, I think we've still got another 10, 20%, potentially even 30% to go on certain models. So when I tell you right now, this, and especially 2023, needs to be the year that you start actually buying some real hard assets. The good news is you do have some time to deploy this, which is why the next part of this video is so important. So listen up. Right now, having a job is a liability for 95% of people. You need to understand we're about to go into a horrific recession. There will be large scale layoffs. So unless you're confident in the company that you work in, having a job is not a plan. And in the same way, starting a business that is not practical is also not a plan. This is coming from experience. I spent obscene amounts of money in a couple years building my software company, Agency Flow. If you want to start a business, I would not recommend starting a SaaS company or starting a business that's impractical. Building a new startup or this or that. You need to be practical right now. Remember, you need cash to buy assets. Okay, so you need a business that gives you free cash flow. Now, before we get on to the next point, the other thing that I want to say right now is saving is not a plan. Another thing to mention before my next point, our parents always used to say, save money. You need to understand the value of a dollar. You need to respect money. That is unequivocally not true in this era. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've looked around, but your own government doesn't understand the value of money. And your government is so keen and so willing to devalue its own currency, it doesn't care anymore. Look, ever since we went off the gold standard, money's just loosey-goosey, it's anywhere. Which to me is also another reason why there is so much money being printed. There is so much money out there. And you're still broke? You still don't have any cash on hand to buy assets at fire sale prices in the next 12 to 18 months? What are you doing? Stop messing around. Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. If you play your cards right, it doesn't matter if you're starting from $0 today. I genuinely believe in the next 36 months, you could have between $1 to $5 million to your name in your investment portfolio. And the way that you do that is by realizing you need money for assets. Build a practical cash flow business quick, one that's remote, one that's lean, and one that provides you free cash flow so that way you can invest in assets when they're at rock bottom. As I said, not right now. I don't believe right now. In the next 6 months, 12 months, even 18 months. And then basically you have all the momentum of over the next few years growing that business. And while that's happening, having the assets that you bought literally in the space of buying at the bottom of the market in the space of 3, 4, 5 years, having them double. Look, as I mentioned in my last video, there's no such thing as a get rich quick scheme. There's only a get rich quicker scheme. Making money will never be easier, but it can be a lot less hard than you think it is. Go watch the video I uploaded earlier in this year on the money making matrix. I'll leave the link down below. It's just a YouTube video, and we use an equation and a formula to compare the 6 most popular online business models and come to the conclusion of which one is the best to start in 2022. I'll leave a link to that in the description, but back to my point. If last year you were willing to put in a 6 out of 10 effort and just being really honest with yourself, not like I work so hard, blah, blah, like really all you were willing to put in was a 6 out of 10 effort. This year needs to be a 10 out of 10. You need to give it your all because look, in life, there's only a few opportunities like this. Ladies and gentlemen, the gates to generational wealth is in front of you, but the issue is they're closing. And they're starting to close quicker and quicker because I'll explain a very important concept to you. In life, there's career timing and market timing. Market timing is what we have right now, which is an incredible opportunity in the market where if you are involved in a certain industry or involved in a certain investment or whatever it may be, the tide actually pushes you forward. And that is the environment we have right now when it comes to investing, as I said, in the next 6, 12, 18 months. So that's market timing, and you've got market timing working in your favor. You've got market timing working for you. Then what we have is career timing, and this is where a lot of people go wrong. This is what I was talking about earlier. People want to start software companies when they've never built a real business in their life. 10 out of 10 advanced, difficult business model for an entrepreneur that, just being honest, is a 3 out of 10. If I tried to start my software company in the first 3 years of my entrepreneurial journey, I'm 6 years in now, it would have been a resounding failure. And even still now, with all the work that I put in, it's still probably the most difficult business that I own. You need to understand that, look, you can start your billion-dollar unicorn company in 20 years when you have 20 years of being an entrepreneur and a business owner under your belt. But career timing right now, you need to have a business model and you need to have a way of getting free cash flow that matches your career timing at the moment. And the attributes need to match your career timing because, ladies and gentlemen, the thing that you use to get from $0 to $100,000 a year in income is not always the same thing that you use to get from $100K to $1 million a year in income. And very rarely is the thing that you do at $1 million a year in income the same thing that you do at 10 million a year in income. And to get from 10 million to 100 million a year in income, it's usually vastly different. So just understand there's really 2 parts to this video. Right now, you need to start working on a business model to provide you free cash flow that matches your career timing. And the reason you need to match your career timing is because you have this beautiful opportunity right now when it comes to market timing, where the name of the game right now, the biggest asset you can have is free cash flow. Money each month to invest in assets that will provide generational wealth for you and your family. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an off-the-cuff, intense, straight to the point video. I hope it didn't feel like I was shouting at you this entire time. Please do not mistake my intensity for judgment. The reason I'm speaking with such passion is because it may not be clear to you. And quite frankly, I think if I was living in this situation 3 years ago, it wouldn't have been clear to me. But because I've been doing this long enough right now, I see the opportunity that is there for you, and I want you to seize it. I want you to take it. And as difficult as 2020 to 2025 will be for most people, I want that to be your golden years, the glory days that you look back at and you were like, that was the nucleus to the empire that I went on to build. So go out there and build that empire.